Now listen, y'all don't know me, but this is crazy to me because never did I think I would be defending a white guy talking about black women at any point in my life. Crazy. But here we are. So the Fuquad and whatever the other guy's name is, James. There you go. Yeah, both of them. I did a video on them talking about black women and stuff like that. My main concern, if you don't want to go and watch the video, even though you should, my main concern was okay. If y'all are outraged, y'all should be outraged at Andrew Schulz because he's the one who said it. They put all their outrage on the black guys and stuff like that. But around that same time, a day before, I did a video about Ryan Clark in Divorced Women. He is a legendary simp, just keeping it a whole bean. Why almost a week later, not even a week later, it's days later, Ryan Clark responded to the situation as far as the Andrew Schultz situation. So it's like two people I did videos about a day apart are now going to have some type of interaction. I'm going to play back just a quick small clip of them and Andrew Schultz in case you have no idea what was said. Then I'm going to play their apology, which I don't think I went over in my other video. Then I'm going to read what Ryan Clark said and we'll react to the Ryan Clark video. That sounds like a long agenda, but hey, I'm going to try and blow through it.
What is the black girlfriend effect? This is
you don't know about
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend. All of a sudden, he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows
up, bro.
I like that.
Glows the fuck up.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends, they
grow a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of.
That's hilarious. We just wanted to address something that's happening at the minute. This past weekend, there's been a couple of clips going around from when we did a session on the Flagrant podcast. In the clip, Andrew was making a joke. I'm not even going to get into specifics. Making a frankly racist joke. Fight or flight is a real thing. Like it is, yeah. Fight or flight is a real thing, and it's so not easy to say, but when you're in those situations, you look at it through a lens of like, bro, if it was me, I promise you I'll stand up, I'll kick them cameras down, I would smack homeboy in the face, I would say this, I'll do that. But when you're in there, you're in shock.
You're in shock, and all you want to do is move on.
Yeah, bro, move on is the fucking word, bro. You're in there, you're in shock.
You're in shock, and all you want to do is move on.
Yeah, bro, move on is the fuck.
I've been there. I know what that's like. When you're just having fun and laughing with the boys and you're like, I just can't wait to move on from this. What's funny about this is that they had shit that they asked to take out the episode. You know what they didn't ask to take out?
Your racist slander. Why is your nose twitching?
They had shit. Their producer, whatever, was like, hey, we really think that's inappropriate. We'd like to take that out. That's very uncomfortable. Their fight and flight instinct really kicked in after the power down. But with that joke about the black women, nothing really seemed, the fight or flight wasn't really there.
So with this happening, black women were going crazy all over the internet. They were highly offended, right? We get to Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark is, he absolutely feels the need to defend black women because they are just so defenseless in this case. So let's read the tweet that he put out. So Ryan Clark tweets, I'm not sure what black woman experience at Andrew Schultz has had, but it hasn't been the real, air quote, black girlfriend effect. To insult black women and describe them as complainers and abusive isn't just untrue, it's disrespectful. Even worse, James Duncan and Fuhad allowing him to say it is even more insulting. He's saying all the right stuff. Andrew Schultz spoke that way in front of two black men because they allowed him to. They made him feel comfortable enough to disrespect black women because they didn't force him to respect them. My experience is that black women are powerful. This is when we get into the beautiful, strong, and supportive. I'm going to come back to that. They prioritize black family, community, and culture. They take steps back to push their men and families forward. So, no, Andrew, the black girlfriend effect is nothing like what you described. I'm just upset that you don't have enough solid black men around you to tell you differently. See, what you got to know about dude, if you go and watch the video I did a week ago about him saying that, the man shouldn't get anything in a divorce when they with these rich chicks. Dude is a moisture master. He's a huge simp. That's just what it is. So when we look at him saying stuff like, black women are beautiful, strong, like, listen, all these are feel good, pander generalizations. That's all they are. I agree with beautiful. I would like to. I've been attracted to way more than enough black women in my life to say that they're beautiful. That's just what it is. Now, when we get to stuff like supportive, there are supportive black women, but when we look at generalizations, I don't think that's a generalization that should be made about any type of woman, period, as far as any demographic. And the reason I say that is because in the West, where we are, there are a lot of women who are completely unsupportive. There are a lot of women who want to just leech off a guy. There are a lot of women who have no idea how they can bring value to a man's life outside of coochie. Now, this is the thing. He's trying to isolate it down to black women, but we're in America. The things that I just said apply to all women in America. And it can even apply to some European countries because they have very similar cultures to us as far as like the West and stuff. So Canada, the UK, et cetera, et cetera. The truth is you not only have to find a supportive woman, but you have to find a woman that is capable of being supportive. And I think when you look at just women in general, that is not something that is on the forefront or just there for most of them in Western cultures nowadays. But this is the other thing. When you say stuff like strong, that is the ultimate pander word when we get to talking about any demographic of women, black women, whatever, because when people say that, they are always talking about some mental fortitude, even though like, I don't even want to get into like slandering or nothing like that. That's what I want to try to avoid. But when we talk about strength, if you say a dude is strong, nobody ever really says that and just means like it's automatically assumed, oh, he's mentally strong. Nobody automatically assumes that. If I say the word strong black man, you automatically in your head envision that fucking chocolate, fucking buff, shirt off motherfucker that be on, your aunt's mantle and stuff like that, and the fucking painting and stuff like that with the dreadlocks and the goatee beard, and he just oiled up and shit. That's what you imagine. No diddy to what I just said, but you imagine a buff black dude. If I say strong black man, you don't imagine some guy that looks like he works at fucking IBM with a pencil neck and glasses that has just been through a lot of trauma and just keeps going. You don't imagine that. But when you hear a strong black woman, what you imagine is fucking Rosa Parks or some shit like that. You imagine Coretta Scott King. You imagine somebody that has been through a lot and is supportive. Now, to be fair, he said this is his experience. But when we talk about women and the word strong, especially the word strong black women, when we put that together, I think that is just overused. I think that it's bullshit. That's just me being real. I don't care how none of y'all feel about that shit. I literally, let me look you in the eyes right now. Just look at your fucking phone, man. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel about that shit at all. Like, that strong shit is bullshit, man. Just you come up with resilient. Just say that instead. Just say, and even then, that shit, because the people that I name, I could see that fitting to them. When we talking about these Sharkeisha ass bitches, these fucking bitches that just, what? The fucking, you strong because you fucking holding a nigga down on a fucking murder charge and putting money on his books from your hospital job? Like, fuck out of here. Anyways, we gonna keep it moving.
The first thing is, when you think about the two podcasters from the UK is we don't know if the black experience there is the same as the black experience for African Americans or black people that grew up in America. I'm sure to be on this media tour in the US and to sit with Andrew Schulz was a big thing for them. I don't care if it was a big thing. And in addressing Andrew Schulz, who I do think is funny, who sits with Charlemagne and has some of these discussions about the culture, I believe he got too comfortable. So I would like to explain some things to him. I want to explain to him the black experience, the black woman experience from my point of view. It was watching my mother start from a bank teller and work her way up for decades to run her own collateral department, only to be mistreated when the bank was sold to another bank, and be so sick on Sunday that I finally had to say, hey mom, you're old enough to retire. It was to see her go to that same job, 8 to 5, to be treated anyway that she had to be treated because she only had a high school diploma, and then find ways to not only feed me, but do homework with me and my brother, take us to practice because my dad worked 3 jobs. That was the first black woman experience that I had. Right, the second black woman experience I had is marrying a black woman and watching her sleep on my cot as doctors try to figure out why I'm 140 pounds and I'm a 30-year-old man who was 205 pounds a month before that. Her telling me months after that she would just go in the bathroom and cry every night in the hospital because she didn't want me to worry about her because I was so sick. Right? For her to hold my family together so I could be in the household with my children when I was doing things and I wasn't shit. That's the black woman experience. The black woman experience is black women caring so much about the nuclear black family, black women taking care of young black men to teach them how to be leaders, to teach them how to be strong, to teach them how to care about their God, about their family, and it's about their communities. And to raise their young black women to be independent enough to take care of themselves, but to understand how to support a family, how to support a man, while also understanding how to get it on your own. That's the black woman experience that I know. The reason that black women are tough is because when you're mistreated in the way that black women are, if you're not tough, you just die off, you don't survive. That's the black woman experience. And the other piece of it is too, is something that I've learned, and I learned it from black women, is people feel so comfortable disrespecting them because we don't respect them publicly, right? White people for so long have used the excuse, why can't I say the N-word when you say that to yourselves or call yourself that or use that in your music, which is bullshit, right? Or white people have said, if you're using the B word, or they say, if you're using the B word, why can't I call them that? That's bullshit as well, right? That's excuses to be certain things and be disrespectful when you shouldn't be. So when you're sitting across from Andrew Schulz and he's talking about an experience that he can't understand because his wife is not black, you don't have the right to talk about that. You don't have the right to speak on something that you don't know, right? And to make a joke about what the experience is
Hold the fucking phone. He just acknowledged that it was a joke from a fucking comedian. That's why we're so mad, because of a joke from a fucking comedian. But let's keep going.
one thing if you're talking about haircuts and you're talking about clothing and you're talking about beards, or you're comparing what our friend Travis Kelce looked like when he was with Kayla Nicole to what he looks like now that he's with Taylor Swift, right? That is part of it. You start to assimilate to the people around you. What you're not going to do, though, is be disrespectful and say you have to develop a defense mechanism because of alleged violence. Black women aren't violent. Black women don't just walk around to beat people or to be angry or to be treated a certain way. No, black women, to me, were the entire front line of the Alton Sterling protests when he died, when he was killed by cops in Louisiana. Black women are on the front lines of everything that's about us. Black women understood that they had to take a back seat because as we were fighting for rights in our country, that we as men were going to be able to get through the door before they were. So they decided to push us forward and give us ideas and give us help and give us support and be our biggest cheerleaders because they knew we'll have an opportunity to get in the door first. The problem is so many times now we're getting in those doors and we aren't reaching back and bringing them through that same door with us. And this is just another example of that. So whoever is Andrew Schultz's black friend, Charlemagne, you're his black friend. Sit him down, talk to him, tell him what the black woman experience truly is, because he ain't married to one, and he's obviously never been around enough of them to know how strong, how beautiful, how independent they could be while also being supportive, how much black women have done to create this entire world that we all live in and the way that they've poured in it. I'd rather be upset, but I know if I'm upset and I'm loud, that just plays into the same angry black woman trope to the black man trope that he wants us to depict, and I refuse to give him that joy.
Now listen, he said a lot of shit in that apology, too much for me to address without making a 30-minute video, and I don't want to do that to y'all today, man. Let me start by saying he said a lot of real shit. He said a lot of real shit. And listen, if I personally thought this was offensive, I wouldn't be making this video. I'd be making a different video, and it'd be going on a different channel, because I would address it if I actually thought it was offensive. But like I said in my other video, everybody doesn't have to have the same tolerance as me. Now listen, I could have did a calculated response and, wrote down bullet points, but we have to look at what's actually happening. This is what's actually happening. What is actually happening is black white knighting. That's what's happening. Because let's look at what was said. Schulz made a joke. He made a joke. He made several. But what Ryan decided to latch on to, Ryan Clark, was the black woman experience. That's what he decided to latch on to. Those words, the black woman experience. And what he did was he talked about very honorable women in his life, in their contributions to his life. Very important people. And being that they, as individuals, are black women, that is his black women experience, but it's also, because he did paint this picture, it's the black women experience. That's what it is. So he took a few words, just a black woman experience, 3 words. You could even put 4 if you want to say the. And he turned it into a 5-7 minute segment. Now, the reason he came to the rescue as the black white knight is because black women were upset, not because he watches Flagrant, not because he cares anything about Andrew Schultz's opinions on anything. But since the outrage was there, this was an opportunity for him to show up for black women, even if the outrage is ridiculous. Now, just because he strung together his experiences with amazing black women, number one, that doesn't mean that the majority of black women are like that. So let's just get that out the way. But the second thing is that doesn't mean that is everybody's experience. That also doesn't mean that the qualities he mentioned are universal for the majority of black women. But this is the truth. To a guy like this, black women are above critique. They are above criticism. Now, I'm going to be all the way real with you. This is me being real. If Andrew was serious, and he was seriously a white guy giving real criticism that wasn't a joke from a comedian towards black women, I personally would have a problem with that. That's just me being real. I'm not just because I'm on this channel and just because you like this type of content don't mean that I'm just against black women by any means. No. If it's some real racial shit and I don't like it, I'm going to call it out. That's just what it is. But the difference between me and Ryan is, first off, I'm not like one of the things that he does. He is a career white knight, because I got the other video of him talking about how these celebrities shouldn't be forking over money to their man and stuff like that. He is somebody who I feel like once you got a woman who like she feels real strongly about certain things, or you're surrounded by women who feel strongly about certain things, just think liberal women and stuff like that, you don't want to upset them. You don't want to be on their bad side, but also even more, you want to please and protect the women and things of that nature. So you feel the need to go up against anything and just turn molehills into mountains and things like that, and etc. It's under the guise of protection, but what happens is you lose your senses as far as like logic and reality and things like that, to where you take the black experience and then you go on a podcast and talk about the women in your life and say that is the black experience, and just that should mean that when we talk about all black women, like they're just amazing just because you have a few amazing black women in your life. Like they're not on these dating shows doing the 50-50. Like some of them are not setting guys up and stuff like that in a hood near you, in hoods around America and stuff like that. Like some of them don't love drug deal. Well, a lot of them don't love drug dealers. And listen, I don't want to get into slandering or nothing like that, but it's just, if you look at the reality and and I'm talking to black people right now, as far as black guys, if you listen to this, if you know the reality and you go and you talk to other black guys that you know, as far as black people, we're just strictly talking to the black people, you know what it is and you know this is bullshit. I get it. I get it. You know, the whites are watching. The white people are watching. We got to, like, listen, I don't give a fuck about them seeing this shit or the opinions. Like, listen, we got to keep it real. We got to keep it real. But the truth is, when we look at what was actually said and being that it's jokes by a comedian, I personally don't think that it's highly offensive. I understand that everybody's not like me and some people will be offended by jokes. I could understand that. You know, it also depends on if the joke was funny or how harsh it was. Everybody is not going to respond to jokes that are borderline offensive the same, or even offensive jokes. Everybody is not going to respond to those the same. But listen, I could say that if black women didn't feel no type of way about this, he wouldn't be talking about it. But with him saying a thing about the marriage and stuff like that, that I've mentioned several times in the video, I think he seeks opportunities to jump in front of the bullet and stuff like that. And really just be this, I hate to say this term, but blue pill white knight of a man. That's all it is. Now, I could get like, oh, how somebody could think this video I'm doing is bad because I'm not staying on code. We should all stick together and all of that shit. But at the end of the day, when I look at black people and I look at Andrew Schulz making jokes, I don't think this situation is detrimental. And if I'm being quite fucking honest, black women have, and just women in general, if I'm being honest, have overreacted to all types of shit, especially in the past 10 years after this internet, Twitter, cancel culture, let's cancel them over tweet shit been going. That's just what it is, man. I'm done for today, man.